Hello everyone, I am back again today, and we're going to be talking about another first round Stanley Cup playoff preview, and this time it is the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Los Angeles Kings. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Now let's start the preview. And we're going to do this video a little bit differently than the other preview I did because I just want to do it a little different. And so yeah, I'll make sure to leave the link in my bio or the little comment part for the Minnesota-St. Louis preview, but we're going to do it differently. Anyway, instead, we'll be focusing on key points around this series we should probably expect to hear about that'll be factors in this series, or I think things that could be difference makers. So the biggest thing we have to talk about in this series is, of course, the Kings finding a way to contain McDavid and Draisaitl. Mixed them, almost paired them there together. But yeah, these two players have combined for a staggering 99 goals on the year, which is about 36% of the goals scored for Edmonton. And in general, we all know what they bring to the table offensively. For LA, it's really simple. You know you probably won't be able to shut them down completely, but you just have to find a way to contain them as much as possible. You're probably going to want to make sure that they don't get behind you, because guys like McDavid, especially with his speed, next thing you know, they're on a breakaway, they're scoring, and that's not good for you. So that is easier said than done, and for the Kings especially true, as they had a very, very hard time containing Connor McDavid in the regular season series. No surprise there, basically everybody does. The 25-year-old superstar put up 6 points in 4 games against the Kings. 3 goals, 3 assists, although one of those assists were an empty net assist, so, you know, obviously like 5, but still, you get my drift here. Still, the Canadian sniper, will have plenty of doubters about him and his team heading into the series, but with the way that you have Kane, McDavid, and the Puljujarvi line playing against the Kings in the final 2 games of the regular season, I think that the Kings might not have a line to be able to shut them down. And that's problematic, because if you can't shut down Connor McDavid, it's going to be a problem. Now, unfortunately for Leon, things have not gone great for him, as he did not have a big regular season matchup against the Kings. He had a goal and an assist in the 4 games against LA this year. But outside of that, he did not play very well at 5-on-5 play, and there was a lot of times that they were actually getting pretty beat up by the Kings when he was out there defensively. Now, I think that he won't have a terrible series offensively. I'd expect him to probably score some goals, drive play, and, be an offensive playmaker for them. But they're probably going to think that they need to limit his turnovers. He's a guy that turns the puck over at a pretty good rate. He's not a great defensive player, and that's why I think you should probably throw out a better defensive pairing on the back end when he's out on the ice if you're Edmonton, to benefit from his offense, but not let the Oilers get out chanced like they did when he played against the Kings this year. Now, of course, having said that, we have to talk about the stars for the Kings and see where that goes there. And in that case, I am going to be talking about the Kings goalies, which I don't know if you'd say stars, but you got a big name and then kind of an interesting name here too. You've got Jonathan Quick, a 36-year-old veteran who's won 2 Stanley Cups since he's been with the organization and is playing really well compared to his previous few years where it looked like he was washed up. But he's not at the moment. He's actually playing decently well, and he's a guy that could start net for the Kings or give valuable knowledge and experience and advice to Cal Peterson. I'd probably expect Quick to start in this series in my expectations, I guess you could say, but especially since he has put up better stats against the Oilers this year compared to Cal, and the fact that he's played more games than Cal, I would imagine that he would be the guy at least to start it off for them. Not sure how much JQ has left in the tank, but if now was, that time to say, well, what have I got left? It'd probably be this moment where you'd say, yeah, I'm going to contract 1 more year, but I also know I might not get another run at the Cup with this team, and maybe at all, so I might want to give it everything I've got here. And of course, he's going to play like that next year as well, but if you really need to basically pull yourself up and say, I got to give everything, now's the time. And yeah, this is going to be a big deal for him, because he is a guy that's been a big deal for Los Angeles. He's not what he used to be, absolutely, but he's also playing a position that is tough. Not a lot of people can do it. Well, goalies will tell you that, that's for sure. And he plays in such a demanding way, a very physical way. And I think that's a big thing for him, that it is tiring. So can he have enough strength and be able to muster this up in order to have a good series and hopefully get the Kings a win in this series? I certainly could see him, being the Carey Price, the guy that just locks everybody down on the opposing team and wins his team this series just by going vintage quick for even just a round. But, you never know. But I do expect him to be the guy in net for LA. Curious to see how that goes. As for the Oilers goalies, I don't know what to tell you that you don't already know. The Oilers are relying on some old guys in net, that being 33-year-old Mikko Koskinen and 39-year-old Mike Smith. Now, Smith's been on a tear since April 3rd with a save percentage of .963 in that time. But I really feel cautious about whether or not you trust Edmonton's goalies. I really wish we'd get to see 2017 third-round Oilers pick Stuart Skinner play for the Northern Alberta team in the series. He won't be, unfortunately, but that means you're probably going to be throwing out the recently hot Mike Smith in net and then having Koskinen be your backup guy. Now, I'm going to say that that's going to be really weird, and I don't know what will happen there. But also, I'm going to say something really weird here, too. I'm going to tell you who I think will win the series earlier on in this video than you'd expect, and then I'm going to explain my reasoning for it. So, in the series, I am going to be picking the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. I'm sure some of you are Kings fans wondering, what in the world are you doing? Why would you pick the Oilers? To be honest, this is a series where I have doubts myself, but let me explain. For starters, yes, Edmonton is a risky pick, but I think that they could make some moves, or they have made some moves that were focused on adding depth to the team that should help them, especially in this series against the young LA team. Getting guys like Hyman from Toronto and having Evander Kane fall into your lap for not the best reasons, but still making the team better is good. And by adding depth, I will still see them probably be better than what you'd expect in years past. And while I don't think guys like Hyman, I don't know if he's ever going to be what you'd love for him to be. I don't know what Oilers fans expect for him. I'm still not sure there, but I do think he will be some depth here for Edmonton that will be the difference maker. Not just him, plenty of other guys. You've got Nugent Hopkins. It's on the third line as a third line center. That's good if he can start playing pretty well. I know he started out the year pretty slow, but on top of that, the Oilers are just insane on the power play with the third best power play percentage in the league, and the Kings give up way too many chances down low in the PK, so that could end up haunting LA. I mean, come on now. You got McDavid, Draisaitl, you got so many guys on that power play unit that are just lethal. That's scary. Then there's the atrocious power play this year, too, that LA has not been good. That's been a big thorn in their side. In fact, they played the second most minutes on the man advantage in the league, so they're able to get these times on the power play, but they still have the 4th worst goals for per 60 in the league in that time. They've actually got a negative goals for above expected. That's 4th worst in the league on the power play, and in general, I think that they have just been one of the worst teams at finishing this year. Could possibly argue the worst. Here is a look at their ability or lack of ability, therefore, to get pucks in and be able to finish and get goals for the team. Blue means good, blue means bad, red means good. As you can see, a whole lot of blue, and that's just unfortunate. Also, that's provided by Hockey Viz. I'll leave the link for them down in the bio. They have plenty of great information. Now, actually, another thing that I wanted to point out, too, is the fact that the Kings have the worst shooting percentage in the league right now. And I'm very, very worried for them, not only heading into the first round, but down the road, what's going to happen, because they need different players. They've got guys that can drive play very well, but just like even a few years ago, they had teams that were able to have a good Corsi percentage, were able to outshoot teams, were able to limit some chances some of those years, but, they're just not able to bury the puck in the net because they don't have enough shooters. In fact, they've only got 3 players this year with more than 20 goals on the season, and out of their top 7 goal scorers, only 2 players have a shooting percentage above 10%. That's very worrisome. That means that actually they have just two guys out of their top 7 scorers this year that have a shooting percentage above league average, that being Adrian Kempe and then Philip Deneau. And I'm not sure who's going to be doing the heavy lifting for Los Angeles to score, but I'm hoping guys like Arvidsson, Deneau, and Kopitar can relieve some of the scoring load for this team. They're guys that have got some experience, that have been there and done that, and I know that this year, of course, some of those guys have not been able to bury the puck at a high rate, but they have been able to play well, and you're hoping, like a guy like Deneau that came over, he's going to have to be a part of this series where you say he's got to fill a void for them after he brought him over in free agency and help them out. But based off what we've seen, I think LA could be in a little bit of trouble. We'll have to see. They're a good team, a team that's got a great future, but they don't have some of the offensive punch and playmaking that Edmonton has. And so as long as the Oilers can play well at full strength, which I'm hoping they can, hoping that we get a good series, and their goalies don't absolutely fall off the face of the earth, that's what I'm worried about, then I think we'll see them win a playoff series for the first time since 2017, I believe that was. Now, that is assuming the Kings don't get red hot scoring in the playoffs and Quick or Peterson just don't absolutely lock down the Oilers offense. I could see that happening. I really could, just because this is playoff hockey, and it's just so weird. Things change on like the flip of the coin. It's weird, and I just don't know. This is one of those picks that I could definitely see LA winning this, and it's one of those that I think could come back to haunt me. We'll have to see. So, what do you think of this? Who do you think will win this series? Let me know down below. Don't forget to check out my other preview, and that is the Wild versus the Blues, and I'll leave that down below so you can check that out in my like little comment area thing or whatever it's called. Can't think of it. Don't forget to like this video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Want to see more hockey content like this. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. Eagle off hockey, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.